I put up a video talking about the RC3 and my experience with it and why I have it, why I like it, why I'm happily going to get more. And let's go through the comments. There's lots of them about suppressors. As I figured, the suppressor nerds are out in force. So let's go through the comments. There's one I pinned to the top because it seems like a pretty good write-up. I'll read it for you. The RC3 isn't for most people. The reason it exists is for people who are doing high volume shooting and specifically cannot dunk it in a vat of simple green every 2,000 rounds, like Huxworks recommends for the Flow 556K, or do not want to worry about their suppressor working its way off their gun, like every hub suppressor is vulnerable to do. I mean, this is my opinion as well. This Surefire stuff is designed to be bomb-proof for idiots like me. Civilian shooters have a set of needs and specifications that they want out of a suppressor, like wanting it to work with a variety of muzzle device types, or paying a certain amount, or having a certain weight and having a certain sound reduction. Many of these things just do not matter for a military application. Guys in SOCOM already know how to use flash hiders because they're already using flash hiders instead of brakes, and that's who the RC3 was designed for. It was designed for being used with any degree of full automatic fire, high round counts per session, and potentially on belt-fed machine guns, like the Mark 46. The RC3 is the longest lasting flow-through can on the market right now. It has no durability difference versus the RC2. I'm not sure if that's true, but it may be. Which is something that people ignored because of a fireball, which only occurs when you're using a brake or a war comp. It has no special maintenance requirements. It fits current issue devices, and the interface is welded into the suppressor, which is massively more durable than a threaded interface. It suppresses better than a Flow 556K and mitigates flash and sound better when you use the correct device that Surefire assumes it doesn't have to hold your hand on. You are exactly correct in that the RC3 suits your needs best, and I'm glad you understand that. Well, I mean, yeah, in my experience with the RC2s, it's like that's obviously not flow through, and it's like, to me, the RC3 is the RC2 that doesn't gas me in the face, because I don't like that. I mean, I have it on the gun when I need to have it on the gun. You know what I mean? Like, anyway. All right. You don't care about flash reduction. To me, like, it's not my job. Like, I'm not in the military, dude. Like, I do not care about flash reduction. Right. You don't care about sound reduction. Again, no, not really. So to me, so I'm shooting supersonic rifles. Okay. Either the gun is suppressed or it's not. Now, do I hear a difference in noise between different unsuppressed guns? Yeah. Like if a guy has a brake on it, that sounds super loud. Like that's very different. But aside from using a muzzle brake, it's like if it's unsuppressed, it's unsuppressed. Yeah, it's really loud. All right. If I suppress it, it's quieter, but it's still not hearing safe. Like none of these things are. So it's like some of them are a little bit louder, a little bit quieter than others, but it doesn't make a practical difference when you're actually shooting them. It's kind of like saying, oh, well, my 40 is louder than my 9. Well, I mean, I guess, but it's not really louder in a way that matters. It's like I can recognize that that gun's a little bit louder, but like it doesn't make a difference. All right. So what are you even bothering with a can? I have to have one. It's not my choice. And then if I have to have one sometimes, that means I have to train with it other times because I have to use it and understand how it works. Like that's the obligation I have. All right. Specifically an $1,800 one. That makes no sense. Well, okay, to me, that makes all the sense because I have the one that's the most bomb-proof as far as I can understand it. All right. The can is not good. This video is top-tier copium. Strange coming from Ben. Makes sense if you want an $1,800 blast forwarding device to look cool on the internet. Seems extremely stupid. Okay. Like, I don't have mine to look cool on the internet. I have mine to actually shoot. Okay, Ben, I know this isn't really your wheelhouse, but these are garbage. It's literally a step back as far as functional design goes, besides the flow-through design allowing less impacts on the mechanics of your attached gun. Okay, I guess it's a step back in functional design. Well, I think there's inherent issues with the flow-through. Like it's not like there's gas coming out the front of it. So like, I think it's going to be louder than not doing that, isn't it? Maybe not. I don't know. All right. The RC3 is the bottom of the list on all three key aspects of current suppressors. Bad flash mitigation, little to no difference on back pressure compared to regular baffle cans, bad meter numbers at the ear and muzzle. Like, RC2 still outperforms the RC3. The only reason the RC3 got made was for juicy government contracts. It's like, I own and shoot both of those cans. It's like the RC, like shooting the RC3, especially I have to shoot indoors a lot. Like I don't want to shoot the RC2s indoors. I do not like that. Like after 20 rounds of rapid fire, like I'm eating gas and my like eyes are watering and I'm like eating cancer gas. Like flow through is way better just for my own health. Not, I mean, I'm not much of a health nut, obviously, but I really don't like eating gas. All right, next one. I don't care about any of the practical reasons shooting suppressed. Thanks, dude. It's like, you guys would be surprised. Like, again, the way that it works for a lot of people is like, yeah, you have to have the cans on the gun. Like, cool, put the can on the gun. It's like, we're like measuring decibels of noise reduction or whatever. It's like, I don't know that matters. Okay. Ben's LARPing at night and not telling us. I do a lot of things I don't tell you guys about. All right, if I buy a new 5.56 can, it'll be a Huxworks Flow. That's a popular can. People like that one. All right, shooting suppressed sucks. So I've heard. Yeah, I don't really like shooting suppressed. But it's a thing. I'm obligated to do it and understand it at this point in my life. All right, this one reply to that. I've never heard a single person say anything close to that. Once you start, you'll never want to go back. I mean, it really depends on what you're doing. Like if you're doing like, 50 yards and in, like kind of closer range, nasty training with your 5.56, like shooting volume, the suppressor is not a whole lot of fun to have on the gun during the training session. It's just not. Okay, Ben, real question. Which NVGs do you have? Tell me it's Panos. I like the Surefire, just hate the mounting system. I'm in on Hux for pretty much all my semi-autos besides the 300 Blackout. I like the mounting system on the Surefires. I just like the ability to shoot it off there, even though they don't like people doing that. You're not supposed to do that because what happens is dudes don't do that properly or they're not careful about it. And then they end up, getting baffle strikes, doing this, that, or the other thing. All right. This video feels a whole lot, I guess, vibe. I get you don't really care about certain things like signature and all, but bro, you got money. Buying something like a Huxworks is like chump change to you. So you might as well just get the better flow through suppressor out there. It's like, to me, that's I have the most experience shooting side by side with the Hux stuff. I can explicitly tell you I would not be interested. Because if you look at you guys are like, oh, like it's different signature or whatever. Like shooting them side by side, you'd be like, there's not really a practical difference here. Like the Surefire one has the longevity, it has the ruggedness that I want, so that's the one that I want. It's like that's how I do the math. Anyway, all right. I'll add, if you shoot 100,000 rounds, you can afford several silencers, but then you are assuming everything else is disposable after a few thousand rounds. Okay, not really. Look up Hunter Constantine's video on the RC3. I like Hunter. Most flow-through cans have been a letdown for the most part. They barely address the gassing issues typically found on shooting suppressed. That's like retarded. I don't know what to tell you. Like there is a very, very clear difference. Like I said, to me, there's suppressed and there's not suppressed. And there's like a very obvious difference there. And then in the realm of suppress, once you suppress it, it is flow through or it is not flow through. And there's a very, very obvious difference between those two things. Not flow through, you're eating gas. Flow through, you are not. Like you can, like, there's marginal differences, sure, but it's like, there's a huge difference between those things. All right, here's a comment I can get behind. My RC2 and RC3 are my workhorses. They are my tanks, and I don't feel like I need to baby them. I fully trust them enough to forget they're attached. My other cans, I have to be more careful. Sure, like for me, I might put the can on the gun, and it's like, okay, that'll be the gun I use for this or that, the training stuff. And it might stay on there. I had an RC2 on one gun for like 10,000 rounds at a stretch, and it was like, I didn't even worry about it. Don't even think about it. Have I worn a can out before? No, I have not worn out a can. Okay, similar use case, but a touch more price sensitive. Definitely considering the RC3 when budget permits. Grateful for your perspective. Yeah, I mean, if you're price sensitive, you got to think about exactly what you want. But to me, I really trust the RC3 stuff. It is a tank. I think, okay, here's a comment. I think explaining what you have for cans, what use you have for cans would be helpful for these comments. Sure. So sometimes I go and I do training and I have to use a suppressor because them's the rules. Right. So then I use a suppressor. That's the way it goes. I mean, I would prefer to not piss with this stuff at all because it's another layer of bullshit onto my training. But at the same time, I like learning. So it's good for me to learn about using these suppressors and all that shit. All right, one comment. I really like my RC3. Good. I really like my RC3. Suppressors go. All right. Why own a suppressor at all purely for competitive shooting? Like, I don't know. I guess you'd use a muzzle brake. Would make sense. All right. I've shot 3-gun for 7 years. No one shoots with a suppressor. I've maybe seen 2 guys loaded up camo, battle belts, helmets, and slings when not needed. A lightweight bolt carrier group, adjustable gas block, decent muzzle brake, make them almost zero recoil, and you don't have weight hanging off the muzzle, making transitions more difficult, and you don't spear your rifle suppressor first into a barrel. For those not building, they just run a normal AR. Yeah, that would be what I'd expect to see at a 3-gun event or whatever. Is like guys are going to have a gun with a brake on it, and it's going to be gassed. It's going to be gassed just the way they want it, and all of that. That's what I would expect. Ben, my man, you need to chat up the boys at Spectres, Cat, and get yourself a white bread at. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't want to continue reading. RC3 is strictly one of the worst cans on the market in almost every category you measure a can by. I mean, I guess some people measure them differently. Like I said, for me, it's like longevity. It's ruggedness. That's what I like. See any more? Have the Surefire cans carbon locked on you? Yes. I don't believe I've ever done like a real training session, like a few hundred rounds, like shooting volume, like I like to do. I don't think I've ever done one and had the Surefire can not carbon lock. Like if I go and train with it, my expectation is it's carbon locked. Now, that's just like, to me, like that's just the way it works. That's why it might stay on the gun for a long time. I don't really care that much about that. And then again, Surefire doesn't want you doing this, but I will shoot the can off the end. If, what I'll do at this point, I'm trying to be a little more responsible, is when I want to take the can off, after I've trained with it, I'll kind of let the gun cool. As it's getting more towards cool, I'll see if I can get it off without shooting it off. And then if I can't, I'll just shoot it off. Sometimes I can get it off without shooting it. But again, I'm comfortable shooting it off. But Surefire doesn't want you guys doing that. Okay? They don't like that because dudes get baffle strikes. All right. Price has always been my problem with Surefire products. I always wind up bending over and taking it though. Lube up and Surefire, all the things. That's pretty much if they have the thing that you want, All right. You should consider getting a night suppressor. They're absolutely bomb-proof and much better than Surefire, in my opinion. Even the MCQ mini suppressor, it's super compact and makes the gun shoot extremely flat. Okay. I mean, I'll look at it. RC2 Mini is pretty much the same performance of the RC2, just shorter and lighter. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. What are your thoughts on shooting with NVGs and how often do you do it? I like most people, are too poor to afford NVGs. One reply to that, I can't speak for Ben personally, but I don't really like doing it. People assume that shooting at night will massively give you a massive advantage. It still can, but the use case is a lot more narrow. The way that night fighting is taught in current curriculums is no longer applicable today. There are numerous things that can expose you to excessive risk, such as UAV mounted sensors, or even things just like normal $200 security cameras or ring units that are using the same 850 to 940 NM. Oh my God. Oh my God. See, this is why I don't want to talk about this stuff online sometimes. All right. Rifle cans are allowed. Chasing a decibel or two is a fool's errand. Like, I agree with that. It's kind of like different cans are on the rifles. Okay. You just like listen to them. I guess there's a marginal difference, but in terms of practical usage, they're all still loud. They're not like fucking quiet. They're not hearing safe. A lot of people would be glad to have a suppressor. It must be nice to complain about them. It is nice. First world problems, I complain about everything, dude. All right. A surefire rep said that shooting the cans off the guns is not the correct way. I know manuals have said to do this, but the most recent rep said damage caused by shooting the cans off won't be covered by the warranty. All right. So what was explained to me is that shooting it off was the last resort. Okay. They're like, okay, you can do that, but that's the last resort. And I think that's what was in the manuals. But then they handed out the suppressors to people with a mentality like mine. And their SOP just like became like, they undo the collar and shoot it off. like guys, like units of guys were doing that kind of stuff. And of course, like when you have big groups of guys doing stuff like that, there's going to be baffle strikes occasionally. So now they're just like, don't do that. So to me, fair enough. I don't have a problem with that. I know if I shoot the can off the gun, that's on me. What's going to happen with that? So I'll shoot it off and check it real. I'm careful when I'm doing that stuff. I'm not necessarily telling you guys that you should do that, but I'm telling you that I'm comfortable doing that with my cans, and, let the chips fall where they may, I guess, with that. All right. That's enough. Enjoy the comments on the suppressors. I knew I'd get skewered, and I sure did.